Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna take a look at a very meta team with Shadow Dragonite in the Open Great League. We're going to have Shadow Dragonite here in a double steel line. This is something that we already saw in previous seasons, but this season it still works out super well. While Ice-type Pokemon got buffed this season, we actually still managed to get 5 positive sets in a row with this team here in the Open Great League, climbing up 150 points total. Actually, I think I went 3-2 twice and 4-1 3 times, so that's basically how this team went. Definitely one team that I can really recommend you to use right now. It's a very strong line, it's of course a very meta line. There are still some games in there as well. I don't know if they're in there right now as well, because of course 25 games would be a little bit too long for a video, or do you want to see something like a 30-minute video on YouTube for one team? Not really sure about this. Maybe I can do it one day in the future or whatever, but today we're going to see here how this team going to function as my next opponent going to decide to forfeit here, as we can take a look at the next game. Frostless lead, horrible lead for us. We're going to be able to swap out into our Registeel. Registeel is my save swap of my choice here. You can still decide to go for the Galarian Stunfisk as well. Both are fine. I feel like Registeel is a little bit of a better save swap in this current meta, as you're going to be able to go ahead and go for one Zap Cannon here right now, which is gonna get the attack drop, which is kind of important because now I'm going to be able to survive another Shadow Ball here, which is pretty cool for me, as now we're going to be able to go ahead and go for another charge move, but they're going to go ahead and go into their Lickitung here, which will take the move, but also going to get the attack drop against them. I'm going to be able to get into my Dragonite here basically and go for a little bit of farm and then swap onto the Body Slam into my Galarian Stunfisk here right now, forcing the opponent to forfeit. And this was a very fast game there. Let's take a look at the next one. A fellow Dragonite user, but my Dragonite seems to have like some kind of breakpoint against them, as we were able to win this match up here. In comes the Azumarill. I shouldn't have swapped into my Registeel, I should have swapped into my Galarian Stunfisk instead, because Registeel is my best answer, my real only answer for the Azumarill in this team here. We will still kind of struggle with this Pokemon in the back, but we're going to be able to shield up the incoming Hydro Pump here, which is going to be very nice for us, as we can go ahead and go for one more Zap Cannon here to try to knock them out. They're going to actually shield this move up, which is weird, as they're going to be double attack dropped right now, so they're going to be very weak against Registeel in the back, seemingly here. You're going to be able to overfarm by quite a bit, go for the Focus Blast here, because there's no real reason for them to shield. Let's take a look at this. They're going to let this move go through, and we're going to see a Lickitung in the back. That's basically already good game here, so you can go ahead, go for the Zap Cannon here. They're going to shield this move up, gonna get the attack drop, and at this point of time, there's nothing they can do. I will be able to let this move go through here. This will be a Body Slam. I can actually go ahead and go into my Dragonite, go for the Superpower. This does insane amount of damage. Superpower made this Pokemon so much better now in the meta, as you're going to see as well. We were able to put them into the red half. They can go for one Power Whip, but they can also still forfeit here. This was an easy game to win. And let's take a look at the next game. Galvantula in the lead. This was actually a weird one, I feel like. I think it was like the one that I was like, that's kind of interesting. We're going to see here the opponent going for a charge move. They win CMP tie, which I didn't know before. So this is something to note, definitely. Here you could just farm them all the way down, but they decide to shield as well, and you see them going for a charge move after 2 fast moves. That's going to mean that they're going to have poison, cross poison here, which can buff their attack there, but of course will also now allow us to farm them all the way down with Registeel. And I guess I didn't have a Registeel answer anymore after losing the Galvantula, which would be pretty decent against Registeel, but only with discharge, which they didn't have. So they decided to forfeit this game. Yeah, next game we're going to have now the Shadow Charizard against us, which is of course a pretty decent matchup for our Dragonite. But in comes now the Medicham from the opponent, which will be a very tough matchup for me, as I can go ahead, go for the Dragon Claw, and I will be able to catch a move onto my Registeel. We already got them pretty low with the Dragon Breath, which is really important here, as we were able to catch an Ice Punch. But thanks to the Dragon Breath damage here already, we kind of put them into range for one Zap Cannon here, which is going to be very nice for me. I can go for the Zap Cannon right now, and I think I'm still going to have to farm them down there, but I think it should be farmed down range here right now, and yes, I can just farm them all the way down, have a ton of energy. Do they go back into, no, they're going to go back into their Sandslash here right now, allowing them to try to farm me all the way down, but the Switch Lock is going to be up right now. I can swap out into my Galarian Stunfisk, as Galarian Stunfisk is going to now be able to beat both of the Pokemon of the opponent here. We're going to be able to shield up the Drill Run. And I'm going to overfarm by quite a bit here right now, as I know that I survive on Drill Run. There should be Energy Dry at this point of time, and in comes the Charizard, which is going to go down, of course, after just one Rock Slide here. As we can now go ahead and go for one Earthquake. That's going to be a pretty easy sweep here, endgame from our Galarian Stunfisk, as the Sandslash has nowhere to go. Let's take a look at the next opponent here. We're going to see a Sandslash in the lead. This was when I didn't know how to play this matchup. If you want to play it yourself, swap into Registeel. You have to swap into Registeel in order to win this matchup. I thought that they would overfarm by at least like 1 or something, but they didn't. You have to kind of swap into Registeel immediately. The lone Sandslash here is definitely a very difficult Pokemon to deal with, and you're going to see here also why, which is going to be not really pleasant to see, at least, as they're going to perfectly see Peter here on my charge move. I'm kind of forced to let this move go through because I would have outsped me anyway afterwards. Now I can go ahead and go into my Dragonite, trying to get the final shield here maybe. Try to get the knockout maybe, but they're going to go ahead and also shield. No, they're actually going to let this move go through, but they have a Clefable in the back. And at this point of time, my Stunfisk is still alive here. The Clefable is going to still get towards some Moonblast. And seemingly, as they don't swap out here, they most likely have something in the back. And they just want to chip here a little bit with the Moonblast of the Clefable, maybe even get the attack drop or something, because they're going to get me like pretty low here already with the next Moonblast, which I most likely have to shield up. Maybe if it's Bastion in the back, we still have a chance here, but if there's anything else, we're going to lose, and it's going to be a Sableye, so that's going to be a good game. Let's take a look at the next one. We're going to have the Deoxys in the lead, which makes a Dragon Breath deal so much damage here. You see already Deoxys has a pretty low HP stat, while great defense, a pretty low HP means one turn fast moves do a ton of damage, as you're going to see the Umbreon coming in here right now. And I maybe make a mistake here, but maybe not. I'm going to go ahead and go into my Registeel here, but they maybe were even already in like the Rock Slide range after a little bit more farm down. I'm not sure about that one, but here we're going to be able to go ahead and go for the Focus Blast to knock out the opponent. But we can later realign our Pokemon, which is going to be very decent for us as well then, because there's no way that they're going to shield this move up here, right? Let's see. Nope, they're not going to do that, and they're going to go back into the Deoxys. I still should be able to go for another Zapkin here right now, which is going to be able to get the debuff onto the opponent here as well, hopefully. We're going to get the shield, and we're going to get the debuff, maybe forcing them to throw a charge move here. Yep, we're going to get the charge move of the opponent, which is going to be the Thunderbolt here, so they're kind of energy dry. They're going to go straight for another Psycho Boost here against us, which is going to do no damage at all, and they're going to swap out now into a Dewgong. This can be pretty decent for us, but can be also a little bit tricky here, as Dewgong has the option to debuff us, and they most likely going to take advantage of that now as well. As you're going to see here, the opponent going to go ahead, go for the Icy Wind against us. We can try to go for the Rock Slide here. Do we have some energy still stored on our Dragonite? I'm not sure about this one. We're going to see now the opponent trying to do more damage here against us, as they're going to go ahead and go for another Icy Wind. So let's take a look at this. We can go for another Rock Slide here, trying to do more damage against them, but it's going to be a close one, as we can try to reach another one in time, and we do, but the opponent going to swap here, allowing us to swap out into our Dragonite, trying to farm them all the way down, which works out super well, as now the superpower is coming through here and going to one-shot the opponent's Dewgong. Good game there, goodbye there, what a game. Next opponent, let's take a look at this one. We're going to see a Jellicent in the lead. This is going to be a fairly decent one for us, as they're going to be able to go ahead and go for a Dragon Claw just before they reach like a what's called a Shadow Ball here. So we're going to be able to now get the shield from the opponent. We can swap out now, getting out the Obstagoon, which is going to get us the final shield already here, which will be super beneficial for us, as this is going to get the first shield of the final shield of the opponent here. They can go ahead and go for the Obstruct, which is even better for us. They are not running Cross Chop, which will allow us here as well to go for another Focus Blast. We don't have to shield here, and we're still going to be able to now go ahead and knock them out here with no issue at all. And this is going to be so nice for us, as you're going to see here right now, the opponent going into the Umbreon. They can farm us all the way down here, which is not really ideal, but at least I can align my Stunfisk against them. I expect them to swap now out into the Jellicent, so I'm gonna go for one more fast move and swap and catch the move onto our Dragonite here, which will be the Surf, which is going to be a resistor, of course. Still does some pretty decent damage, but we can now go ahead, shield up one more time, try to go for the Dragon Claw on time, and we're going to even overfarm a little bit, go for the Peter here right now, knock them out, and now it's down to the Umbreon, which is to still deal with the Dragonite here, which still has a shield, as well as the Galarian Stunfisk, as this is going to do a ton of damage. Boom! Putting them easily into Rock Slide range here for our Stunfisk, and they decide, yeah, that's going to be enough here. Dragonite is just going to town right now. Dragonite basically has a neutral matchup against most of the meta Pokemon right now, which is making this Pokemon so nice. Here, honestly, I feel like I kind of misplay. I tried to catch a Dragon Claw here onto my Galarian Stunfisk, which I definitely didn't do here. I was able to catch a Blast Burn. So at this point of time, I'm going to see Peter here, which is also going to be a Blast Burn, and the opponent of course is going to let this next move go through because it was not necessary for them to do anything else here right now. So this is not really the ideal scenario for us, as we now is shield down. We still have 3 Pokemon left while the opponent is missing 1 already, but it's not really looking too crazy good for us right now. We can go ahead and go for the bait here against the opponent's Sableye, which is going to be okay for us. We can go ahead and go for the Rock Slide here, which hopefully does enough damage to put them maybe into Dragon Claw range, as we can go ahead, go into our Dragonite and go for the Dragon Claw on the CM Peter here right now. And this is going to be very nice for us, as this is going to knock out the opponent. In comes the Registeel. Don't know why they didn't use the shield on the Sableye. It would have been so much more difficult for me to win this game. But like this, they have to use another shield here, and they're still gonna get hit by another superpower by our Dragonite. It's debuffed, but look at the damage output. It still puts them into the deep red health as they go ahead, go for the charge move here. But at this point of time, they're already in range where I can just lock on them down before they even get to another charge move, and that's going to be a very good game. I would have survived another Focus Blast anyway, so it doesn't really matter, but good game there. Noctowl, we win this matchup as well, but of course, if you have 2 steel types in the bag, you don't really want to go ahead and go straight for the charge move there, as they're going to swap out into a Lantern. Our entire team is decent against Lantern. There's not a single matchup where this team struggles really with Lantern. We're still going to shield up the first move here because, of course, we kind of want to get the debuff here right now, and of course, in the matchups where you want to get it, we don't get it. This was a common theme as well. I think there were like several occasions where I really had basically the game in my hand if I just get the debuff, and of course I never got them. So I think at least like 2 of the games that I still lost, I would have been able to win if I just had more luck with the Zap Cannon, because I had the Zap Cannon debuff in a ton of scenarios where I really didn't need it, but had it all the time, like never basically in the scenarios where I needed it. So I was kind of even unlucky with the team, I would say, and still went like on a crazy win streak. So definitely a team I can recommend you. Very, very strong team in general. As you're going to see the opponent swapping into the Noctowl right now, allowing us to go for 1 charge move here real quick. I can swap out. I should be able to reach the next Rock Slide before they can get to their own next Shadow Ball. I kind of want to keep the health on my Galarian Stunfisk. As they're going to be able to reach the Rock Slide here right now, this is going to easily knock them out after the Dragon Claw. And in comes now again the Lantern. Kinda showing that they're most likely a little bit weak against Galarian Stunfisk in the bag, as I'm going to be able to reach the Rock Slide here in time. And let's take a look what they're going to have in the bag here. It's going to be the Altaria. You might think, oh, this can be a little bit tricky here, but nope, we still have a shield left. We can go ahead and go for 1 Rock Slide here. And also the matchup for Dragonite is pretty damn decent, as the opponent also realized here already, yep, there is nothing I can get here, and they're going to forfeit this game. Let's take a look at the next game. We will see the Deoxys defense here in the lead, which we're going to be able to go ahead and go for the farm down again. Shield up 1 charge move here. It's going to be the Psycho Boost. They're going to stay in here actually. I'm going to try to catch the move. Didn't work out. They swap into the Obstagoon, and this is still okay for us. We can still go ahead and go for some damage against the opponent, especially as they're this time around at least not gonna go for the Obstruct, but I try to get the debuff here. Please get the debuff, this might be important, and we gonna get no debuff. Of course not, because this would have allowed us to survive another move here, but who wants to survive a move if you... I'm not gonna complain, but this happened like several times, like in scenarios where I was like, okay, if I get the debuff here, this is going to be such a good game, and then I kind of got screwed by the game a little bit. Of course, it's a 66% like chance to debuff the opponent. It's not 100% anymore, so I don't really want to complain too much, but it's of course always those scenarios where you feel like, I really wish that happened just now, but at this point it doesn't really matter anyway, as Galarian Stunfisk is a hard wall for the Deoxys as well as the Wigglytuff, and so we will be able to win this game anyway. As we can take a look at the next game here, we see a Grass Hole user, we see a Victory Bell plus the Medicham coming in here, which we are going to now shield up the move. It's going to be Power Punch. I expect him to still be Power Punch, Ice Punch. That's kind of how they play it usually. Just because, especially as a Sace up here, they kind of want to have something for Flying type Pokemon. So we will be able to reach 2 charge moves here. They can still survive the second one, and we're going to be able to swap into the next charge move into our Registeel, which is going to be a Power Punch here, sadly, which we will be able to still farm them down. But in comes now the Victory Bell. Let's see. I hope that I get the debuff here right now. It would be really important for me to get to another move afterwards. Yep, we are not going to talk about this one again, but we're going to at least still hit another one. I think I would have been even able to maybe force them to throw if I got the debuff there, but yeah, I'm not going to talk about this anymore. Of course, we don't really have the luck in the scenarios where it might really happen, but luckily, because the opponent expected me to swap out into my Dragonite, we had the perfect answer against their Bastion in the back, and it's going to be a good game. final game for today's video. There were so many more games that I could have shown, of course. I played entire day with that one. You have like half of them games now in this video, but this team was so nice to climb. Also showed like my elo on Twitter or whatever, like I climbed up like 150 points in one day with this team, which is really nice to see. Only positive sets with this one here, as we're going to now be able to have the Gliscor against us. Gliscor is a core breaker for this team, really difficult to deal with, but luckily my opponent decides to bait here first with their Night Slash. I'm just gonna let this move go through as well here. It's going to be the Earthquake, they can knock me out, but now they're energy dry, I can go into my Dragonite and I can force those shields here, which is going to be very nice for me. In comes the Dragonclaw, gonna get shielded, I can go for another one here right now. And this is also going to be shielded, and because they shield both of the moves up here, I feel like they're going to be weak against me in the back, and I was so right with that. They're going to have a Swampert in the back. Now, honestly, this was a misplay. I could have played this so much cleaner if I just went for my charge move immediately and like basically tried to force the opponent to go for the Hydro Cannon against our Dragonite. Yeah, because then we still would have had our full health Stunfisk in the back, and we still would be able to go ahead and go for some Rock Slides later on against the Gliscor. Like this, it makes it a little bit tougher, even though I caught the move like a pro there, but it's still going to be fine for us, so we can go ahead, go for the Dragonclaw. And the Dragon Breath is just too much for the opponent to handle here, and this is going to be it for this video as well. I hope you enjoyed this one. Very good team to climb right now, so try it out if you can, and I hope I see you next one. Leave a like on the video, subscribe if you're not already. There are 2 videos on the screen right now, check them out, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.